All right. Hello, and welcome to this episode where we're going to address the question, why does OCD and anxiety feel so real? So this is going to be part of our OCD and anxiety FAQs, or frequently asked questions. And for those of you that don't know me, my name is Matt Cotty. I am the founder of Restored Minds and the creator of the AAA Response. So real quick, before we dive into the show, just please help us out by liking and subscribing and turning on those notifications if you're on YouTube, as well as if you're on listening via podcast. Help us out, please, by writing us a review over on iTunes and Spotify, as it just helps the show. Also, if you have questions that you would like us to talk about in this series, I have a little link down in the notes where you can submit a question and we can review and see, and ultimately we just review the questions and kind of pick ones that we think would serve the most people. So submit the questions and we'll be happy to consider it for a future episode. Okay, so why does OCD and anxiety feel so real? This is a question I get a lot where essentially the feelings are very intense in a person's experience. And the question really behind this question is, because these sensations are so real, how is this not a real threat, right? Or a real problem that I need to address, right? So what often happens with people that are wrestling with OCD and anxiety is they're having these thoughts, right? What if a certain catastrophic event happens, usually and whatever they perceive that to be? If we get a terrible disease, what if I get in a plane crash? What if I have a panic attack? What if, you can really just fill in the blank with any kind of what if thinking. And it doesn't even necessarily need to be what if, but some kind of futuristic event or some kind of past event, and then analyzing it. And that creates this real visceral sensation in experience in the body, right? That we would call anxiety. And the feelings are real. Like, so when they're saying, why then the question comes up of, why does this feel so real? The feelings are real. Like, no one's going to question that. The thoughts are real. You are really having those thoughts and you are really experiencing those feelings. What's not real is the actual threat, right? Because it's not really happening, right? It's a futuristic or past scenario in your mind that's causing the body to initiate a fight or flight response. Now that can be happening through conditioning, and I mean, it could be happening because there's just stress going on in your life. I mean, it could be happening for a variety of reasons, and we're not going to really get into that in this episode, but it's just the idea of, like, why does the OCD anxiety feel so real? Well, again, to be transparent, like, those really are happening, right? Like, that experience is happening. It is real. The question I think that's behind this question is, because it's real, because I'm really feeling this, how could this not be something that I need to address? Or how could it not be a real threat or real danger? And the answer to that is because it's not happening, right? When someone touches a doorknob and maybe they have fears of contamination, that what if I get some terrible disease, or what if this is contaminated, they will literally report real psychosomatic sensations of, like, hey, I can feel it on my hand, So like, to say that the person's really not feeling that, it's like, no, like, from a psychosomatic perspective, they probably really are, quote unquote, feeling something, but nothing's happening right now. And that's just shows you, like, the power of one's imagination, right, on the mind. It's just the same way that someone can have a sexual fantasy in their mind and become physiologically aroused, right? I mean, like, that's in many ways the same thing. Is like, the body doesn't know the difference between a real or imagined threat. And because it's an imagined threat, it's not real, it's not happening. And but the body's still responding in the same way, right? So when you're talking about, like, why does this feel real? Well, it's because the sensations are real. It's just happening over an imagined event. And that's the part that's not real, right? Because it doesn't exist right now. And so if it's future based or if it's past based, even the past based are often very misinterpretive, and that false memory stuff, happens with OCD as well. So the idea of the question that I think is really underneath this is, because it feels so real, why is this not something that I should be taking seriously? Or, why is it not the issue that I'm thinking of? Whether it's contamination, driving, flying, fill in the blank about whatever you're anxious about. What if I get some terrible disease? And then I get this visceral reaction. The visceral reaction doesn't mean that the thought has any validity. It just means that it scared you. It activated your nervous system. That's all it means. You get to choose from here on out what the meaning that you want to assign to these thoughts. You have the choice to do that. And one of the problems with OCD and anxiety is oftentimes the mind is very creative. People with OCD and anxiety are usually very creative people. And they're also highly sensitive and highly intelligent. And when you kind of take that triad, so to speak, and you just, you have a creative thought, and then you emotionally react to it, and then you try to solve it with your mind, that creates the cycle right there, right? Because you're doing the compulsions, you're having the reaction and the intrusive thought. So the point I really want to stress with this question is the number one thing you need to be asking is there an actual threat right now? And if it's an imagined threat, like it's something that could happen, or what if this does happen in the future, or what if this did happen in the past, that's a very good indicator that we're dealing with OCD and anxiety. Now, just because you feel real anxiety and real fear in the body doesn't mean that it's a real event, especially if it's not happening right now. So why does it feel real? Because that's the power that the mind has to create a situation and actually physiologically change the body, right, in the mind. But or to create a bodily response, right? But it doesn't mean that it's actually a danger. It just means that that's just what happened, right? It would be the same way as if you were having a fantasy and you'll be like, well, why does it feel so real, right, in my body, right? Well, because that's what the power of the mind can do, the mind and body connection there, right? Which is why it's important that we aren't, again, feeding the fear thoughts and ruminating and again, validating them by doing compulsions, because the more we do that, the more the fear thoughts pop up, the more the body reacts, and so on and so forth. So to break the cycle, what we need to do is, again, stop engaging in compulsions that are validating that this thought may be something that we need to, again, consider or remedy or get rid of. And that actually calms the nervous system down to realize it's not actually in danger. And so your nervous system naturally comes back to homeostasis. So that's the whole principle of exposure response prevention. So hope that helps. And it was a great question. So I thought it would be beneficial to talk about. And with all that said, please check out the links in the notes for resources. Again, if you have a future question that you'd like us to address, submit that as well. And if you're looking for any additional resources, you can head over to restoredminds.com and we'll be happy to help you out. So thank you all. And I hope you have a great week, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Hey there, hope you enjoyed that recent video. We really would appreciate your support real quick if you could like and subscribe to our channel. And if you're looking for help with OCD and anxiety, please check out the links below or visit restoredminds.com, as we'd be happy to help you on your journey. Thanks so much.